Many thanks for staying with us. It's still the conversation, and it's the second part of the segment of the program. Today, here we are looking at Lagos, Nigeria's commercial nerve center, and to help us understand this particular topic is Mr. Michael Ogu, is editor of Pinnacle Daily. Is an experienced journalist and keen observer of Nigeria's economic landscape. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. The gratitude is mine.
Okay. Let's begin this way. I'd like you to take us through the journey of how Lagos, now emerged as the commercial, nerve center, the economic hub of the country.
Thank you very much again for this opportunity and for that gracious welcome. I think Lagos was the way we use the word in our native language. I think Lagos was designed to be the commercial capital of Nigeria because of the unique place.
whether it was the capital or not.
I mean, the commercial capital.
Okay.
Any other place can be anything.
Okay.
But commercial because for you to discuss commerce, it means you to reckon with a place as a commercial capital. It means it must have the attributes to enable trade, and one of that attribute come natural to Lagos, which is the fact that it is sitting right at the shore of the Atlantic.
Yeah.
So that made interaction with the world really very easy. And if you have to do those kind of massive cargo that would make you a place to reckon with, then it's important that there is a way these cargoes come in and go out. So naturally, by the way Africa was shaped by the Almighty, I think it simply just placed Lagos at the tipping point, for commercial activity in Nigeria. So that basically lends credence to everything that Lagos had gone on to become. It's in investment balance, we say Lagos is the clearinghouse for Nigeria, essentially.
Okay, so let's look at Lagos, as you've mentioned the ports, you've mentioned water, you've mentioned as a commercial city. What percentage now of Nigeria's economy does Lagos contribute to mainly, and of course, which sectors are the biggest drivers of the economy?
So, by the way, Nigeria's GDP is somewhere around $250 billion as we speak. Lagos alone is about $140 billion. If you are talking 36 states and you net off 140 billion
from one state,
that should give you an idea. Today, Lagos hosts over 2,000 manufacturing companies, 200 financial institutions, and oil and gas multinational headquarters. That should give you a sense. I mean, if you take 2,000 companies out of Nigeria, I don't know what is left to share among the other places. It tells you where Lagos is situated in this scheme of things. So when we discuss this, Lagos GDP we are talking about is basically contributes about 30% of Nigeria's GDP, houses 70% of the country's industrial investment.
Okay.
And by Lagos GDP, we are talking about a state, that is bigger than 30 African countries put together.
Yes.
So if you have 54 African countries, by the time you are done counting the first four, Lagos as a state comes in that sense as a country. It is how massive, these things are. So it is not the ascriptions that what we ascribe is facts and figure. It is reality. That whether or not you like Lagos, you have to identify with, because that is what it is essentially. In terms of trade and logistics, Apapa and Tinkan Island ports handle over 80% of Nigeria's cargo. We have other ports, like the Onne ports and all of that. But if 80% of the goods that goes in and out of this country comes in from Lagos, it tells you, basically what this place is. So it is basically the birthplace of a lot of things, including ICT invention. So all of these things, make Lagos the unique place that it is today.
Okay, I'm glad you talked about Apapa and Tinkan Island, of course, and that also solves the issue of transport, which is usually described as the lifeline of commerce. Let's go to the informal sector, the economy, which is a huge, huge part of life here in Lagos. How significant is this sector to Lagos commercial, entity?
It is very, very big. And when we say very, very big, people tend to underestimate it. There is a reason why 86 people come into Lagos every hour. That's what the statistics tell us. If the people who had come in before had not found something to do, have not been absorbed by these informal sectors, I'm not sure more numbers will be coming. And they're not coming because they want to come and see the beautiful bridges in Lagos or the sky risers. It's because that place potentially offers a means for survival. And it is how massive this is. One of those times, my time in Lagos, as a group business editor of one of the national platforms in Nigeria, I did a special report that revealed that only the Owambe economy alone, the parties on Saturdays, the burials alone, is worth over 200 billion. You know what that means? Whether you are in the business of money exchange, or you are selling gilly, or you are buying gilly, or you sell food, or you have to pack cars. Yes, I used to stay a few minutes away from Fela Shrine, and I will walk back there and see all kinds of economic activities. Some very grown-up men will just show up in the morning. There are 4 or 5 halls congregating around that place between Neka, Fela Shrine, down to the other side of the Alausa Mosque. And all they do is to help people park their cars, and they get stipends. And you'll be shocked at how much these people make, per day. Others, others are just coming there to retrieve waste, plastic waste. From that place, and that for them it's all that brings them to that place. The transport activities around that place, the food vending, all kinds of things. You'll be shocked at. So the Owambe economy alone, we are discussing 200 billion. How many businesses can do that kind of figure in Nigeria? In Nigeria. Yes, and this is something that probably just happened between Friday, Saturday, and at best on Sunday. So the potentials is huge. The informal economy is very, very big. It has taken a life of its own, and whether or not the government is passing budget at the beginning of the year, Lagos doesn't know that. It's one of the few states where at the turn of the year, while the budget is busy dancing at the National Assembly, life is moving on. Absolutely moving on, and these economic activities, have a way of contributing overall to the uniqueness of Lagos as a commercial hub.
Okay, let's look at finance and, of course, investment. Lagos is also home to the Nigerian Stock Exchange and many banks. So what continues to make this city attractive to investors? In my elementary economics, when they used to say, we learned something, and they would say, if you are a producer, for instance, what would influence your reasons for setting up a company? And they taught us in elementary grade, they say nearness to raw materials, nearness to markets, nearness to labor, cheap labor, and all of that. And as I'm mentioning this thing, I'm sure in your head you're telling yourself, which of these things do not exist in Lagos? The labor is there. And cheap one at that. Nearness to markets. Which of the markets do you want to take? Is it Alaba? Is it Balogun? Is it Ladipo? These are multi-billion naira markets in their own rights, and not to talk about the small markets around K2. Is it Balogun? In fact, the whole of Marina, I don't know where is the market and where is not. Even in front of the big banks, people are trading informally in front of those places. So these are naturally the reasons why this place has become attractive to a lot of. First of all, if you need to receive raw materials from offshore, you are sitting right where you can basically take these things up without the extra burden of having to transport them out of Lagos. And if you are producing for the export market, you are also sitting at a place where the moment you are done with productions, you just onboard those things and they are headed for wherever they are going.
And not just the population, you also have a population with disposable income. Okay. If you have a community with the headquarters of over 200 financial institutions, whether it is in insurance or pension or banking or microfinance banks, it means you've got people working there and they earn some income and they would have to dispense those income within the environment where they exist to survive. So if you are offering any service around anything that would cater for their daily needs, you will naturally get a chunk or a piece, of that income, and that is, these are the things that companies, want to look at in wanting to situate, and that just makes Lagos the bride for a lot of people.
A lot of people. You've talked about, the informal sector trading everywhere, and this leads me to this question of congestion and of overpopulation. Knowing Lagos has, a population of over 20 million, we'll continue to stress that, it is, a challenge on its own. So how much of these challenge, have an impact on ease of doing business in Lagos?
So I would like to speak to some statistics here so that we understand it. So when we say Lagos is overpopulated, I think contextually, we don't situate those comments correctly, because there are other big cities. Lagos is a big city, by the way, and there are other big cities that are probably more populated than Lagos. I've been to Jakarta, and by the way, the Lagos BRT bus lane model, I think it was copied from Jakarta, and they have crazy numbers in those places. What we have not done is that we have not maximized all the other channels that we have. I worked in Lagos for 8 years, living at the mainland and having to go to the island on a daily basis as a journalist and traversing every other part of Lagos where there was some need for some kind of business or financial reporting. And I'll tell you, from traveling to over 20 countries of the world, what my experiences have been. Lagos is as crowded as New York, but have you imagined what can happen to the Lagos GDP and the turnover if we have an efficient rail system as we have in New York?
Oh, we're getting there. We started with the blue line.
If you need to, my point is, if we arrive at that place, it can change the story completely. What about our waterways? That is another channel where we are not seeing a lot of private capitals going. A few players there like cowries and a few luxury boats, and then we have the rickety boats doing Ikorodu to Maryland or to Badagry. Can you imagine what life would be if we have something similar to the BRT buses running on those water lines, guaranteeing safety, allowing people to cut the time of travel, let's say between Ikorodu and the mainland and other parts of Lagos. And you can go from the mainland to the island, let's say even twice in a day, to go and consummate business and back. Can you imagine what that would mean for the economy of Lagos? Can you imagine what will happen to the economy of Lagos if more than 50, 60, 70% of these businesses today do not depend on generators? If this government, let's say as a country or Lagos, finds a way to solve the power problem and we have a 24 hours power supply in Lagos, can you imagine what that would do to turnover? So traffic alone, if you live in Ikorodu and you have to work in the marina, you dispense about between 3 or 4 hours of your day just commuting, not working, commuting. And on a very bad day when it rains and there are accidents or whatever, the way we find once in a while, it means you can spend another 5 hours doing that. That is taken away from productivity and eventually from the GDP. So there are places where, it doesn't come as easy as maybe what I'm saying is that as a people, as a people, if we're able to fix this other part, the night economy in Lagos is enough to provide job for some people. Go to Kenya, a small place like Kenya, in places like Mombasa. People celebrate anniversaries, birthday, and the rest of it on a boat that way, on the water. All our water channels there are only busy by day. By evening, everybody deserts it. And we probably just go to a joint. And no, there is a different kind of life. And even in Dubai, you get that feed, you get that activity. So that's another economy we have not even touched at all. So the opportunity are enormous. And the number is not overpopulating, if you ask me. It means if we are able to fix some other areas, we can get those 21 million to become 21 million powerhouse of productivity.
Thank you very much. But just before we wrap up, from your experience as an editor in Lagos, which you had made reference to over and over again, what single factor about Lagos makes it quite unique and and compare to other African cities?
So Lagos, it's a place that offers you everything on a platter. Lagos does not discriminate against anybody. What stands you out is what services or value are you bringing in. And I say this because I've lived in other cities, both home and abroad, and with other cities, you get people who are a bit laid back. If you are discussing business, you just say, oh, we want to go home and think about it. Let's do this housing conversation in a month's time. I probably would have been. In Lagos, if you are discussing any idea with anybody and he sees opportunity, he's jumping on it immediately and execution is beginning immediately. If you are offering anything of value, it doesn't matter where you are coming from. If people think doing this business with you will advance their position financially, they are doing business with you right there and then. And I mean, you just come into that place, the city soaks you in, and you soak the city in. You can't even recognize yourself because you are not the person who came in, obviously, but you are coming with some value that has been able to find expression in Lagos. So it molds you into a completely. You come into Lagos and you think there is so much chaos, you cannot survive in that place, and then 2-3 months later, you are wondering whether you can survive in any other place other than Lagos. Lagos is the only place that I will come in from an international trip by 1 o'clock, and I'll still find very hot jollof rice.
Jollof rice.
To satisfy my way, just somewhere around the airport hotel. And get a taste, return my taste buds to factory setting after taking in so much sugar and flour and all kinds of things. Nowhere else gives you. Lagos is the only place where, on several occasions, because I stay in Lagos and a couple of friends are coming from around the world to catch international flights out of Lagos. Some of these flights are 4 a.m. in the morning, and we are pulling out of the house, and a vulcanizer is still there, waiting for one extra customer to come.
Yes.
Where would you find? In Lagos, 6 a.m. shops are open, and you just drive 1 hour away to Ibadan, and by 10 o'clock you are begging the owners of shops to come and open their shop. With due respect to all my friends who are from Ibadan, by the way.
I'm from Ibadan.
Lagos teaches you. Yeah, I'm so sorry that hit you badly. But Lagos teaches you that, you've got to be on your feet. Nobody is going to, you see the things people do. In Lagos, I've lived in a street, like I told you, where I wake up 6 o'clock, the father is setting out to work with his own cooler, the type that we give to children that are heading to school. The wife is having her own food cooler as well. The children are having food cooler. Everybody is setting out. It's not a play. If you are mentally lazy, it's not, guilt will kill you sitting down and seeing people who are less, people who have less capacities than you doing everything they can do to survive. So it's a kind of acculturization that Lagos gives to you. You can't go to Lagos, spend 6 months and remain the same, except you completely close yourself from being impacted. You will see business opportunities everywhere, and sometimes it is just basically you living, say, Alausa or Ikeja to Balogun to pick up stuff that you can display right in front of your house, and somebody else is buying them up for you with a small margin.
Okay.
It's whether you are willing to take the pain to jump on a bus and go to Alaba and pick some clean electronics and come and display right in front of your house, pay a bit of taxes to the people who come and ask you, and you are making something from it. I know restaurants in Lagos that operate between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. They prepare breakfast, they rush to the front of organization, they sell to everybody who wants to buy. Some are buying ukula, and before the organization opens by 8, they've cleaned up the place and disappeared. And by 5 p.m. they are back there selling. You can imagine how innovative all of this. It is in Lagos that I saw proper bus drivers that are women between what's it called now? I will remember the name somewhere along the line. So there is no gender discrimination between Underbridge leading to your office. You find several women driving kurupe. This is something you will not find a woman doing in other places. So Lagos doesn't. That's the kind of thing Lagos does to you, really.
So I want you to advise or share a message, with young entrepreneurs who are still outside Lagos that still see Lagos as the land of opportunity.
Lagos is indeed the land of opportunity. I don't know how else to say it, but I think we can begin to interface with Lagos in a slightly different way. The fact that I mentioned earlier that Lagos is not overpopulated does not also imply that every young man would wake up from every part of this country and begin to go to Lagos. I think that there's so much that we can do with Lagos operating outside Lagos. You know. Come and look at the market. The way people travel to China and go and say, I just want to go and see what I can do. Can you come into Lagos and walk around these unique markets from Ladipo to Balogun to Computer Village and ask yourself, where can you throw in some small amount of money, given the uniqueness of where you are coming from, and that can become a business. Can you begin to establish the contacts that would enable you do some of those things? So you establish supply contracts from Lagos, and you are sitting maybe in Calabar, maybe in Abuja, maybe in Kano, and you can take this thing through some safe delivery modes and dispense them, and you probably don't have to add to the 21 million, but you are benefiting out of the commercial activity in Lagos. So Lagos offers that kind of opportunity, whether it is in spare parts, in electronics, in clothing, and Lagos also offers a market if you are dealing with foods, which they don't have the lands to produce so much, you know, and several other things depending on what you do. So I think the idea is to understand how Lagos would work for you, what opportunities Lagos offers for you, and what are the kind of contacts that you need to continue to make people function. I am somebody, I've left Lagos for like a year or 2 or 3, and every day I think about Lagos like if I step out of my room, I am in a street in Lagos. That's how I consume Lagos. I don't have free days in Lagos. If I have a public holiday like today, I'll probably jump on some bus going to Badagry or something because I want to see, I want to internalize, I want to learn. So at some point, I even became a middle person for my friends outside Lagos who want to buy a car. Sorry, can you go and check this car for us? I take my mechanic there. I say, okay, I'll go with my mechanic, but because I'm taking him from the shop, you have to pay him a fee. I would also be there. I'm sure he will give me a honest judgment. And we'll do transaction on their behalf. The car is kept in my house until I find a driver who takes it to them anywhere they are living, or they find time to come into Lagos and pick their vehicles. I was enabling business at that level, even though I didn't make money from it. But I mean, it's if you're the way the Gen Zs will put it, if you're a plug, you should be able to make some money for it. So Lagos is a plug for both individuals and states in Nigeria on what is possible, what can. And these days we saw relationship between two states on how Lagos can absorb the rice that they cultivate and sell it at a reasonable price. Those are things that are possible at every level, whether it's a B2B or B2C or P2P. They are possible if you can imagine it and build some structures around it.
Thank you very much, Michael Ogu. Lagos truly is a commercial nerve center of Nigeria. You know, you said one thing, you need to understand, you know, what Lagos can do for you, even though Lagos is the plug. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll go on another short break.
Is always right. Thank you.
We'll go on another short break. When we come back, the conversation continues.